Hello everyone, Paradox2767 here again with 3 more LEGO habitats designed for the new Hogwarts modular system. Today I'll be showing you the stairway up to the girls' common room, Malfoy in front of a vanishing cabinet, and the potion supply closet of Professor Snape. Now if you missed my last video, I was showing you guys an actual LEGO set depicting basically flying lessons from the first movie, and then I used that general base to make my first modular set. And so how these are designed, it's an 8 by 12 box. You just need a few holes for the pins in the back, and then you also, if you want, extra credit, you add a few brackets, and it'll slide in to any of these LEGO modular buildings. So this is the one that originally came with it. It's Professor McGonagall's classroom, a transfiguration class, and last time I made a Mirror of Erised where we have Ron seeing himself. Then he steps close to the mirror, and instead he sees who he wants to be. A slightly taller version, he's got the Quidditch cup there. And so this is what I made in the last video. You got an access panel in the back, but I wanted to take that general formula and apply it to 3 more scenes from the movies. I'd love if I ended up inspiring anyone else to do the same. Like I said, you need an 8 by 12 base, some pinholes in the back, and then extra credit if you get these brackets on the sides there. I have it in a few of my mocks today, but it's not completely necessary for fitting in the modular system. So let me clear the way, and I'll start with the first one I made, Draco in front of the vanishing cabinet. So this is a scene in, I believe it's the Deathly Hallows, where Draco is in the Room of Requirement, I think. It's basically this big room that's being used at this point in the series as storage for a bunch of magical items that no one wants to find ever, so they just kind of all dump it in this room. And that's where Draco has a vanishing cabinet that ends up connecting to that kind of creepy Nocturne Alley bookstore. I think it's Borgin and Blotz or something like that. Remind me in the comments what the heck they call that thing. But basically Draco uses this cabinet as a way to connect to that evil bookstore and get some Death Eaters into Hogwarts. So I've got my Draco here, yellow skinned, because I don't have too many newer Legos. And he's in front of a vanishing cabinet, which is a pretty simple design. I added a couple greebles, a couple different doors. I couldn't for the life of me figure out how to open those doors, so it's actually all static, but I'll show you a little bit more detail there in just a second. In this crazy storage area of Hogwarts, I also have, just a bin full of coins, a spare wand, a broom. This apple is meant to be a reference to Draco's apple, which he puts through the vanishing cabinet when he's testing it. It comes back with a bite out of it. Then I've got like some chain here, a bit of armor, and then this book was meant to be the Half-Blood Prince's book, because I believe Ginny and Harry come here to hide the book away in that one. So it's a good room for hiding and getting, getting items lost on purpose. You can let me know in the comments. I mean, this apple's for Draco. Maybe Filch could use this broom. I don't know who needs cash the most in Hogwarts, or a spare wand, or a little bit of chain, or some armor. You let me know what you think as far as which Hogwarts student would be able to use some of this stuff. But because this vanishing cabinet is used as a portal to that kind of creepy bookstore, I have it so that when you turn it around, it's essentially a portal to that very store. So I've got a couple of creepy artifacts. This brain piece actually comes from an older set that depicts that very bookstore, or that magic artifact store. I forget the name of it. But then I also have some creepy, like a little bit of flame and just kind of a creepy effect. So, hypothetically, you would be able to use this vanishing cabinet to get from Hogwarts to this location. And so that's on the back. I just have the location itself. So that was just my way of representing it. And then just like the other mock I built the last time, you just take any of your Hogwarts buildings, if you build it to the right dimensions, and you can slot Draco in the Room of Requirement right in for the rest of the sets. So let's check out the next one I made. Now this is the stairway up to the Gryffindor girls' dormitories, and it comes with a bit of a story, so let's get into that. Picture a Gryffindor student who really has a crush on a girl in the girls' dorms, and so has been leaving her Valentine's and trying to get the message to her. But in the books, there's actually a force field that prevents boys from getting into the girls' dormitories, and so the Valentines have just been left on the floor outside, and it's a very unrequited love story that we're trying to depict here. I try to do a little bit of forced perspective, so if you look at it from the right angle, you're looking through the Gryffindor girls' dorm, up the stairs, and then down that hallway is the door into their hall. So hopefully that's done to some success, that you can kind of picture that that's a stairway up to a distant room. And then I have also a couple details on the sides. So not only was he trying to hand deliver his Valentines, he's also been trying to get his owl to deliver it. So this is a very micro scale version of the Lego owlry, and a couple clear bricks to represent a white owl flying with a letter to get the message to her. But unfortunately, because he's had such little success on that front, she ended up popping him into a painting. I was picturing this to be the painting that you can use to get into the Gryffindor dormitory in general, and he's been plopped there and he's quite grumpy about it. And then finally, back here, who should write about such an interesting unrequited love story but Rita Skeeter? And in the movies, when she meets with Harry, it's underneath a stairwell anyway, and she's got her floating quill and her floating bit of parchment, and it writes all of her articles for her. So she is getting the scoop on this poor student's unrequited love. And then if you look through the window here at the right angle, you can see through there the owlry tower. And it's pretty accurate to the film if I'm remembering right, when Rita's interviewing Harry in that kind of broom cupboard, basically. It's a really tight little space, but there are still windows to see the grounds outside. So that is kind of a bizarre one, but that is what I came up with for the Gryffindor girls dorm. Honestly, I made the archway first with these two line pieces, and then at that point I'm like, no, what the heck am I going to do with them? And I ended up just plopping them in there. So it's because it satisfies me to no end. Let's slide out this room of requirement. Draco can go find another place to sit, and slot this bad boy in. So like I said, it's just that 8 by 12 base. And then this one doesn't have any of the slots like the other one does, like my Draco one does, but that just adds for a little bit more wiggliness once it's in. However, it is very firm. So that is the girls' dorm. And then last but not least, I'll show you the potions cupboard of Professor Snape. So this is a location that we see very briefly in the 4th film, because Snape is missing a lot of ingredients for Polyjuice Potion, and so he tells Hermione and friends, I'm on to you, basically. I know you've been trying to make some Polyjuice Potion, which is an inaccurate assumption. It ends up being Mad-Eye Moody. So instead, I have Mad-Eye Moody in this potions closet, basically, stealing his own ingredients to keep himself looking that way, because in fact it's Barty Crouch Jr., I believe. So same base size, same pins in the back. This time I get extra credit for these rails. I ended up putting those on as well, even though the color doesn't perfectly match. Now this one has an extra little bump out in the back, so it's not completely smooth, and that's for an extra feature I'll show you in just a second. But luckily, it still slots into the Hogwarts build I have. So those are the pins that I'm going to have catch these two holes here. But then the beauty is that this little bump out slots right in where those bricks are. So it ended up working to my favor. At first I thought I was going to have to do a little redesigning, and then I tried it and I was pleasantly surprised. And why I have those brackets, because that way you can open up the entire potions room and get a better view of it. So I've got 66 different potions. They're all unique. So, there's, several green bottles, but their toppers are all the different colors. So I try to do that to give it a nice variation in the color. I feel like this is a pretty good angle for it. And there's Mad-Eye, probably in the dark of the night, trying not to get busted stealing Polyjuice ingredients. And so that is the 3rd habitat. And like I said, it's the most satisfying thing on earth to me. Let's slide this bad boy right in where he belongs. And like I said, I'd love if I inspired anyone else to make their own little Lego habitats. I'm not even too familiar with the films, so if you were, I bet you'd be able to come up with a lot more awesome locations that you can use to spice up your own Lego Hogwarts. These again are the habitats I've come up with, but with that simple formula, with that 8 by 12 and those brackets and those pinholes in the back, I'd love to hear other ideas for different Hogwarts rooms. If you end up making any of these yourself and throwing it up on YouTube, please comment. I'd love to see those. So get building. Good luck. It's way helpful to separate the tan pieces from the rest so that you can get the creative juices flowing. And I'll see you in the next video.